Picture this. It's Christmas time, late December, going into early January, and you're looking out your window late at night, and you see this. Just a very tall man standing there, doing nothing else. And his name is the Yule Man, or SCP-4666. And you know he's scary because there's 3 sixes in his name. But this is a Keter class SCP with a description of being believed to be a single exceptionally long-lived humanoid entity of unknown origin. And survivors of Weshnok events, which are the names they give to people who have encounters with them, they typically describe the Yule Man as being very tall, between 2 meters and 2.3 meters. I had to convert that to American units, rock, flag, and eagle. It's roughly like 6.5 to 7.5 feet tall. Elderly man of European descent, with an extremely emaciated appearance. The entity always appears completely naked, even when observed outdoors in freezing weather. It would help if I could read, but as you can see from this picture, you can't see any of the physical characteristics. All you can see is that it's a slender shadow figure standing out in the snow. Now, for the special containment procedures for the Yule Man, web traffic and law enforcement channels worldwide are to be monitored for evidence of the Yule Man, and particularly for cases of stalking or reports of anomalous phenomena involving families with young children. Because there's always some themes whenever he pops up. There is always a family with young children involved, usually under the age of 8, and it's always either late December, starting like December 21st, or into early January, the winter months. And then inside those active phases are when Weshnok events happen. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it says, should a Weshnok event be suspected to be in progress, the nearest containment task force is to be dispatched to attempt containment of SCP-4666. And that also media coverage of family deaths attributed to SCP-4666 is to be suppressed or falsified to make said deaths appear as non-anomalous home invasion murders. Forensic evidence and SCP-4666 instances collected by non-Foundation agencies are to be confiscated and witnesses amnesticized. Not gonna lie, didn't know what that word meant, had to look it up. Basically means they get hit with the mind erasinator. So they're going to extreme lengths to cover this up, sweep it under the rug to let nobody know what's going on. So it's a pretty big deal, obviously. And now we can get into more of the nitty-gritty details here. It says that the nature and extent of the anomalous properties remain uncertain. Yule Man appears capable of instantaneous or near instantaneous travel to any location north of 40 degrees north latitude, and possibly to any location on Earth, with him only really coming out to play during the aforementioned active phases and these Weshnok events inside the active phases. And in all of the documented Weshnok events, the dwellings have shared characteristics such as isolated rural locations, home to a family with at least one child under the age of 8, and situated in an area with snow cover lasting throughout the duration of the event. And then it explains what the Weshnok events consist of and their general progressions. Nights 1 through 7, children will report seeing SCP-4666 in the vicinity of their family's dwelling. The entity will typically be observed watching the dwelling from a distance, such as from a nearby field or from the edge of a neighboring forest. So he'll pop a little Slender Man pose and stare at you from afar. In some cases, children will report waking up at night to find SCP-4666 watching them sleep through a window. And I'm going to be an honest man here, you know, I'm going to keep my chin held high and say that when I first read that last part about him watching through the windows in some cases, a chill went down straight to my taint. I know it's kind of cliche for an entity to watch children through the window, but for whatever reason, the setup to this made that delivery all the more impactful. But nights 8 through 11, family members, including the parents, will report sounds of footsteps coming from the roof or the attic. Santa! Which is probably what some of the kids think, unfortunately. An extremely unpleasant odor will also frequently be noticed inside the dwelling, but not from poo-poo on the floor. No cause for the phenomena will be found. As a result, parents will often begin to suspect that their family is being stalked, or even that their dwelling might be haunted by stinky roof-stomping ghosts. The worst kind of ghost by far. And then night 12 is the final night of the Weshnok events. Over the course of the night, one of two scenarios will occur. The first and most common is that SCP-4666 will kill all members of the family, save for one children under the age of 8, whom it will abduct. And I know what you're thinking. Maybe he saves the kid. Maybe it's the only lone survivor to make him miserable. No. I don't want to spoil it, but their fate's worse than the rest of their family. SCP-4666 will inflict incapacitating injuries to family members while they are sleeping, then herd them into a single room of the dwelling where it will proceed to kill them in view of each other. The method of killing varies with the event and will typically be preceded by some form of torture, which appears to serve a ritualistic purpose. See Westnacht event logs below. So we'll go ahead and skip down to that and look at one of these. Which ones you guys want to look at? One that happened in 1498, 1698. Those are both unconfirmed. We'll go to, not 71 looks good. 1971 in Norway. An entire family was killed with the exception of the second youngest child, female, age 5, who was abducted. The bodies of the parents and 2 other children were found in the basement of their house. Each had at least one limb pulled off by brute force. Before being stabbed precisely 39 times with an unknown sharp implement, possibly a piece of bone from one of the removed limbs. That's like a Mortal Kombat fatality right there. Jesus Christ, that's brutal. Resulting in massive blood loss and death. Obviously, you got your arm yanked off. And then stabbed 39 times to follow that up, as if that wasn't bad enough. The family members had then been eviscerated and their small and large intestines removed and cut into 30 to 50 centimeter long pieces. Now, I don't have the conversions of American units off the top of my head, but a couple inches. These had been arranged in radiating lines around the bodies. Feces from the intestines had been used to trace symbols of unknown meaning on the walls of the basement. So yeah, pretty much the most brutal, heinous, really just most deplorable scene you can imagine. That's what plays out when the Yule man decides to kill the family and abduct the kid. Although there is some hope, a ray of sunshine in a dark room of this situation, because roughly 15% of the time in a second scenario, SCP-4666 will not harm the family. Family members will report hearing footsteps inside their dwelling during the night, though no signs of forced entry will be found. In the morning, children will discover presents at the foot of their beds. These will consist of toys crudely crafted from... You got any guesses? You want to take a guess? I'll give you a few seconds there. The remains of human children. The human children that he's abducting. Crazy stuff. Crazy, insane, dare I say. See SCP-4666-A instances log below. Why don't we go ahead and see that? We'll once again go to the one of the 1976 incident in Cape Broyle, Canada. A ball 23 centimeters in diameter, made from 19 layers of human skin wrapped tightly around the desiccated head. I don't know, I feel ashamed that was such a hard word to say. Of an unidentified human child, male to age 2 to 3. Layers of skin are held in place with pine resin. So this creature made a ball about yay big from a child's head with its flesh wrapped around it. I don't even think the devil himself could come up with a present idea like that. Talk about a gift. And just to read another one for you, because why not? You're already here. In 1903 in Kazakhstan, a flute made from the hollowed out femur of a human child. Holes have been bored at uneven intervals along its length. The femur appears to have been dyed with human blood. So this dude just has an ongoing arts and craft class using the bodies of human children that he abducts, of the family members he tortures in front of each other and kills. And as of right now, from their investigations, what determines the outcome of a Westnacht event is unknown. They don't know if it has anything to do with the family, what their occupations are, what they believe in, how good of people they are. No commonalities have been found. Seems to just be at random if they die or not. Now I'm just envisioning the kid with the giant flesh head ball. Like, Mommy, why are you taking my present from me? I want to keep it. Santa gave it to me. Just bouncing the head ball through the hallway. And it's not bouncing because it's made of flesh, not rubber. It's just splatting. Ugh, oof, like baloney hitting the ground. Okay. Anyways, the discovery of the Yule Man's existence and ongoing activity were first detected in 1974 through the Foundation's newly implemented anomalous signature recognition program, when several highly similar home invasion incidents resulting in family deaths were found to have occurred throughout the northern hemisphere during the night of January 1 through 2. And then they decided to plop on their fedoras, get their magnifying glasses out, and search through civilian and law enforcement archives worldwide, which is what led to them uncovering evidence of probable Westnacht events for nearly every preceding year going back to the late 18th century, with an average of 3.1 known events per year. On top of which were numerous historical documents, like the ones that were dating back, unconfirmed events from like the 1400s or whatever, that describe Yule Man activity prior to the periods discussed. In some cases, as early as the 2nd century AD in Europe and Russia, and as early as the 1st century BC in Scandinavia. So this dude's been around since the beginning of time, slicing and dicing, and then giving gifts. He's had a lot of time to perfect the craft. I can see how his handiwork is that good. And it says fingerprints belonging to the same humanoid entity have been discovered at all the locations of the Foundation investigated Westnacht events. These have been matched to a partial fingerprint found preserved in dried blood on a recovered Yule Man A instance dating from 1873. The fingerprints present characteristics not known to occur in human beings. See image, which is right here. The fingerprint belongs to the Yule Man, and it says to note the unique double whorl pattern. Human-like white hairs were also recovered from the locations of several Westnacht events, though no DNA, human or otherwise, could be extracted from them. And then we got an addendum on here. It says, on February 1st of 2018, several SCP-4666-A instances were discovered at a family's residence in Hoona, Alaska. Following the conclusion of Westnacht event 060198, among these instances was SCP-4666-A-0960, which consisted of a crude, life-size doll from the emaciated body of a female child to which the following modifications had been made. You want to prepare yourself for this one? You probably do. A dress made from various pieces of dirty, discolored clothing had been sewn around the body and in several places into the body's skin. The mouth had been sewn shut with thread made from human tendons. Human tendons! And the lips painted red with a solution consisting primarily of human blood. The fingernails of another child had been glued over the body's fingernails with pine resin. Big fan of pine resin, this guy is. These had been painted red with the same human blood-based solution. 3 of the body's fingers were missing. Can only imagine he put those together to make like a human finger pinwheel or something like that. The entire scalp had been removed from the head, and the scalp of another child with long blonde hair sewn onto the head of its place. So he's making like a child Frankenstein corpse. The hair had been tied into 2 braids. Both eyes had been removed, as if enough damage wasn't done already, and 2 large round pebbles on which each eye had been crudely painted placed into the empty orbits. That might be the craziest thing he's done. Took out the eyes, painted rocks with eyes, and then put them back in the sockets, making like a googly eye Frankenstein monster here. Upon examination by the family, the child from whom the doll had been made was found to be still alive. Whoa! This is shocking to even me. I didn't read this far. Albeit unconscious. Authorities were notified, and the child was airlifted to Bartlett Regional Hospital in Juneau, Alaska, where she survived for 18 hours. 2 Foundation agents were dispatched and were able to interview the subject. See interview log below. Okay, we got to see this interview log. All right, so it says that she gained consciousness for roughly 30 minutes prior to expiring. Why do they put expiring? Why not just put death? During which she was interviewed. She is 7 years old, and her name is Ekaterina Morozova. Definitely did not say that right. So the agent says, "Hello, I'm Antoni. What's your name? Are you gonna take me back to him?" "No, I promise. I'm just here to talk to you. I don't want to go back." "You don't have to. You're safe now." Mishko remained silent. "Can you tell me what happened to you? Do you remember the night he came to your house?" "I remember he hurt Mama and Papa and Katja and Juliana for a long time, and they were bleeding. After they stopped screaming, he put me in this bag." "His bag?" "He had a big bag. Other children were in the bag too?" This dude's evil Santa. This is worse than Krampus, though. I think we go to other houses. I hear people screaming outside the bag all during the night. So he's like Santa Claus, hopping from house to house to house, racking up these events, stealing the children, and then he's leaving presents in the form of the children. Oh my God, oh my Jesus. Each house he put another child in the bag, then after the night he take us away. Where did he take you? Underground. Unknown word. Deep. Underground? Do you mean in a basement? Deep. Everything earth and mud and ice. Bones everywhere. Everything cold. I can't sleep because it's too cold. Were there lots of other children there with you? Lots of children. Lots of tunnels, lots of holes, but I can't see all. I can't see the other unknown word. Too dark. My hole was with Renee and Hecla and Sasha and Paul. We make the toys together. He makes them the elves. Oh my God, dude. He's stealing Santa's whole flow. The toys? If you don't make the toys, you don't eat. Don't stop making the toys. Don't fall asleep or he hurts you. He hurts you. How? He hit you? Or he burn you? Or he bite off your fingers? That's kind of funny. Or he cook you on the fire in his room and eat you. He eat Felipe and Sally. What about you? How did this happen to you? Did he do this? Pauses. Renee and Hecla and Sasha and Paul do this. They have to. Why? I get sick. When you can't make the toys, you become the toys. Christ, that is dark. I hadn't read the interview log prior to this. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. That makes this whole thing so much better, honestly. And then back to where we were. Following the subject's death, her body was confiscated by agents and all witnesses hit with the mind erasinator as per standard procedure. DNA testing revealed the subject had been Ekanatara, I can't say that name, age 7, a known abduction victim of SCP-4666, taken from her family residence in Dubovk, Russia, on February 1st of 2016. So it had been 2 years to the dot that she was there, making toys, and then she herself became the toy. Autopsy of the subject's body showed she had been severely malnourished during the 2 years following her abduction, which had resulted in considerable stunting. Weight was only 15 kilograms, height was only 90 centimeters. A number of scars and burns were present on her skin, and she had suffered 2 bone fractures, left tibia and left ulna, that had not been reset and had healed improperly. Hands were heavily calloused. Cause of death was attributed to multiple organ failure resulting from severe sustained malnourishment. And that's it. That's the Yule Man. That is who could potentially be bringing you and your family presents instead of Santa, or killing you and turning your youngest born into the presents after they stop being useful in the toy making process. Jesus Christ. I like that a lot. I'm disgusted and disturbed, but intrigued. And that was a fun read. Very fun. One of my favorite SCPs so far by far. So far. But before I lose my mind on video, I'm going to end it here and I'll catch you in the next one.